The Third Side of the Coin, brought to you by Excalibur Coaching and Consulting.
Welcome to part 2.
What I wanted to do is to kind of kick us off with reminding our viewers that in the second episode, we spoke about unleashing creativity when dealing with difficult predicaments presented to the professionals in the time of pandemic, such as COVID-19 and in general. And we pointed out that it was impossible for a human brain to think creatively or solve problems when operating out of our reptilian part of the brain or when amygdala is activated. And this process ultimately is the same when we're afraid. So when we need to create a solution or learn how to move forward and get unstuck out of fear, we need to figure out a way how to switch our living process from amygdala to the prefrontal cortex. How do you typically address fear?
I usually address fear by doing breathing techniques. Do you want me to bring you through one very quickly?
Yeah, I would love to. Just a disclaimer, you don't need to be deeply involved in meditation to do this technique, right? Because I know
it's breathing.
sometimes.
Yeah, it's breathing. I mean, you're breathing right now. So it's.
I think so, but thank you for reminding, because sometimes we do forget to breathe, right?
So you just firmly plant your feet on the ground you're on, relax your shoulders, rest your palms on your lap with the palms open to the ceiling, relax your shoulders and open your chest, right? And just breathe in as you usually do through your nose. Allow it to travel all the way down to your tummy. Hold it, and then slowly breathe out, exhaling through your nose as well, as you feel your tummy deflate and the air expelling out of your nose. And just observe your eyebrows. You might be scrunching right now or frowning. Just relax the center of your eyebrows. Relax your eyes, and again, take a deep breath in through your nose or nostrils, all the way down to your tummy. Feel it expand, feel your body expand, hold the breath, and then slowly exhale through your nostrils again. Allow it to come out naturally. And one more time, breathe in and breathe out. Relax the eyebrows, center of your forehead. Relax your eyes and your cheeks. Relax your throat, breathe in again. And breathe out, relaxing your shoulders as you exhale. And one more time. Breathe in and breathe out. And just do a couple of regular breaths that you might usually do, keeping the eyes closed, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the center of your eyebrows, relaxing your tummy as you breathe in and breathe out. And just complete the round you're currently on. Breathe in, breathe out. And with a gentle smile on your face, you may slowly and gradually open your eyes.
Thank you.
So your thoughts have settled down.
Yeah.
So fear is the agitation of the mind. Obviously, if there's a lion or a hungry tiger in front of you, don't close your eyes and breathe in and breathe out, you run. But sometimes when you're at the office or in front of your screen or something's happening where there is an opportunity to just stop, to pause, then it's quite easy just to do that. A couple of breaths with your eyes closed. Don't worry, the world is not going to go away, and it can wait 30 seconds, maybe up to 60 seconds for you, and then resume your work that you have to do. Obviously, don't do this when you're driving as well, but these then allow you to pause. And you see a lot of meditative or mindfulness or all these terminology coming in is really just telling you to pause. We forget to pause, and it's just pausing occasionally, and it's a discipline, and that allows you to reset and allow you to pivot again in order to, like, okay, now what do I do? Rather than what do I do? Because then you are firefighting rather than stepping back and then looking at the fire and then say, okay, that is the exit.
I am able to proceed very mindfully right now after this exercise. Thank you so much. And it certainly does help to pause. And whether you're listening to people who are involved in the spiritual teachings, or if you are listening to psychologists, medical professionals, the first step that they tell you to take is to pause. So no matter what your beliefs are, you really need to convince yourself that it's okay to pause, because we
Yeah.
do get into the state of mind where we claim we're so busy and we cannot necessarily move on or move forward, but in reality we're not addressing something that is super important to address: our stress, the reaction to fear, or reaction to some type of news. So when it comes to living a fruitfully effective life, the only real problem that people will ever face is an emotional response to something that either has or hasn't happened yet. And fear, some say false evidence appearing real. I'm not saying that some fear is not real, but in some cases, in a lot of cases, it's perceived. So fear is an emotional response. If you think about it, there are countless people all around the world who live in a happy marriage, have money in the bank, a good job, or perhaps successful or sustainable business, but yet still exist in a constant state of fear, anger, anxiety, or stress. And most people spend their whole life focusing on what they don't have or what they can lose rather than on what they have now. If you are guilty of this, you stand at risk of living a highly stressed life, in basically being in a constant mode of striving, busyness, or stress, just like a pressure cooker that's waiting to explode. And I can definitely recommend that when you are faced with fear and recognize that you are afraid, you pause and use the method that Tim brought to our attention in the second episode, as well as today.
So, Alex, I would like to ask you is like, how do you address fear in the things that you do? I know that you integrate cognitive behavioral therapy in some of your work, which I find is like, wow. Can you take me through like some of the things that you yourself use in these situations come across? So, please.
Thank you, Tim. And a lot of work cannot actually begin until we start breathing, because when you're afraid, you depend on the emotions. It's the emotion factor, right? So reaction to a certain outside situation. So let's say the news of this virus came, and then the first reaction is fear, whether it's fear of the unknown or any other reasons that our friends and viewers actually referred to. So the first step is to really understand that when you are afraid, you cannot think creatively. If you want to proceed and actually come up with some type of solution, you can do one of the exercises. Again, after you paused, you breathed, or perhaps you used a moment to find humor in something. I don't know, find a cute picture of a baby, that's laughing. Humor is also good. But ultimately pause. And after pausing, what you can do is acknowledge that there's a potential that what you are doing is afraid of something that might never happen. One of the techniques that you can use to work yourself out of this response is called the head, heart, and gut technique. Pay attention first to your head. So maybe forehead area. Your head generally thinks about a decision, goal, or situation in a logical manner. And we use our heads to weigh up pros and cons and evaluate them. So take a few minutes and just focus your attention on your forehead. What is your head telling you about this decision to move forward, or perhaps the goal that you're thinking, or maybe the situation that you're afraid of? The next step is your heart. So shift your focus on your heart. And our hearts consider decisions, goals, or situations based on our emotions, the feelings. The heart is generally passionate or could be irrational. So, but still it's a part of you. Take a few minutes and focus your attention on your heart. What is your heart telling you about the decision to move forward, or the goal you're setting, or the situation? Next, shift your attention to your gut. And our gut is where our intuition lives, or at least that's what they say. And we have all experiences that feeling in our guts when something just doesn't feel right. The gut doesn't offer much explanation. Still, take a few minutes to focus your attention on your stomach area or on your gut. What is your gut telling you about all this? And then after you've done that, again, all it is just paying attention to different parts of you. Then if you are into journaling, it's fine. I understand some people do not like that, but ask yourself 2 questions. Number 1, having experienced what your head, heart, and gut are telling you, what decision can you now make? And then ask yourself, what's the first action step you must take? It's all about taking the responsibility. But you cannot take that responsibility until you pause or breathe and then scan your feelings or thoughts. I know it helped a few of my clients. Again, it depends on the situation, to observe and notice and acknowledge that we're in a state of fear.
Yeah, no, I really like your technique because it's a great way for leadership introspection, which is so important to be successful. Successful leaders need to reflect, need to introspect, and that, not saying that introspection is about fear, but just about it's the way we might want to journal instead of writing down, we introspect. That going from the head to the heart to the gut is a very complete sequencing that's pretty neat. Thank you for sharing that, Alex.
Oh, you're welcome. To wrap up our episode on how we're dealing with fear, I would like you to challenge yourselves and just observe throughout the next week or 2 weeks. What are you afraid of? When is that feeling going to come up? Perhaps do not focus too much on the media and the hype that it brings. And ultimately, try to take as many pauses, short, brief pauses, if you're stressed or afraid, to actually unleash that full potential. Because when you are afraid, you need to remember that fear inhibits your potential and your growth.
If you like this podcast, make sure you like it and share it on your own social media handle. Thank you.
Thank you so much.